Hey, it's Marianne Hickman here. Welcome back to the show. This is Talk Tips number 26. We're going to talk about who to have on your podcast. Hey, listen, stay to the end of this talk tip because I have a really cool giveaway just for you. Okay, before I get really deep into this, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. She's not here with me right now. She is actually online. She's hosting a bunch of really cool stuff. You got to check her out. But her name is Kimberly Spencer, and I want to hold up this book. She just launched this. It became a #1 bestseller in multiple categories the day it launched on Amazon. This is the book, How to Make Every Podcast Want You. How to Be So Radically Interesting You'll Barely Keep from Interviewing Yourself. Such an amazing book. I'm already loving it. And see, here's the thing. Kimberly owns an agency that gets people booked on shows, which is an incredible gift. But she has been on my podcast and she had me as a guest on hers. And she gave me such a cool breakdown for who to have on your show, what percentage of that demographic you should have on your show, and then how to appear on other shows as well. Okay, so here's the breakdown that Kimberly gave me. First of all, 20% of your show should be authority figures, which means peers or better in your space. Someone in the space that's more advanced than you or further along than you. Guys, don't be intimidated to interview people that are further along. And please, for the love, do not be competitive with people that are in your same space. I work with people that are in my same space all the time, and it is my dream to collaborate with like-minded experts. Imagine having a bunch of people in your space that come together and build something together. In fact, let me tell you a story. I remember years ago, I was playing a brand new board game called Carcassonne. I don't know how many of you have played this, but it's one of my favorite games to play. It is not a short one, though. Budget a whole evening for this. One night, we pulled this game out and we were playing it. And we said, listen, I've got my little people that are on the roads. I've got my little people in the fields. I've got my little people in the churches and all these different characters that are all trying to score points. And I'm playing versus this other person. Now, yes, I did win, but I wanted to see what would happen the next round if we weren't trying to compete with each other and steal each other's points, but what if we were trying to make moves in the game that added to not just ourselves, but each other? What if I was trying to score points and not worried about the points I was giving to the other person? In fact, what if I was thinking about we could total the points that both of us made in the game and we should go for the highest number? So we added up our points from round 1. And then we said, we got to beat this number in round 2 collectively. And so in that next round, what the crazy thing happened is we doubled or tripled our individual scores. The scores of the game was more than tripled the first round because we were trying to collaborate rather than compete. So don't be afraid to interview people that are in the same space as you. Do not come with a competition mindset. Collaborate, find out where you overlap, and then you can help each other grow. Okay, the next group or body of people should be your ideal avatar. So when you're appearing on podcasts, look for podcasts that have your ideal client that listens to the show. When you're having guests on the podcast, look for people that might be ideal clients. That's another idea for you to bring into your show. Who is the person that would buy from me? Now, guys, don't make the mistake. I'm not saying that you should use your podcast to then pitch to the person after the show. And I'm also not saying you should do an interview with someone and then charge them before you post the show. It's gross. Nobody likes that energy. Just don't do it. Okay, number 3 are people in your tangential space. This is what I'm using as a term. This should be about 30% of your shows. People that have things likewise in common with you that maybe aren't in your niche of your business. Niche? I don't care what it is. But people that have like something similar in common with you. Maybe you were a single mom at one point like me and you're like, let's talk about that for a minute. Or maybe people that were on food stamps like I was once upon a time. Or maybe people that have competed in a bodybuilding competition. I'm naming all of my side things and my side hobbies, but you could have anything that's of interest to you. Maybe you're a pilot. Maybe you're a fisherman. Maybe you're a wood whittler. Maybe you like to watch The Office. Something in that ball of fun that makes you. Interview someone like that on your show. Talk about things that are cool. You can also bring it back to your business and say, hey, listen, how do I, maybe you bring in a Canva expert. How do I use Canva as a public speaker? How do I effectively parent as a public speaker? What's it like being married, building a business together with your spouse in the public speaker space? Now take that, slap your niche on top of it, and talk about that. Have those kinds of guests on your show. By the way, it's also okay to have beginners on your show. Interview your students. See how they're doing. Have them reveal what it's like to work with you and not in a sleazy, I'm just going to use you for a testimonial kind of way, But really, you're just kind of videotaping a conversation that you're having and then calling it a podcast. Those can sometimes make some of the coolest episodes. In fact, one of my students has a very short episode with me, probably only about 20 minutes, and it's ranking pretty high in my overall episodes of the podcast. So those are some ideas. In fact, here's what I'm going to have you do. I want you to write down in the comments one guest, a dream guest that if you could either like bring them back from the dead or go back in time, or maybe someone that's living present day, who would you interview and why? And then I want you to think of one person that you could interview. If you asked them to show up, they would show up tomorrow. Ask that person to be on your podcast and start making a list of these dream guests and the tomorrow guests on your show. Now, I promised something, a giveaway at the very end of this. I have a podcast database for you. It's got over 800 shows, over 1,000 different guests. It's a huge database. All of these people said they have need of each other. So if you need shows, there's shows on there. If you need guests, they're all on there. All of the application links are also included. You don't have to really do a bunch of Googling to find these people. Just go to mariannehickman.com/database, download it for free, and get your next stage or get your next guest. And I will see you on stage. Remember to like and subscribe. And thank you for being here on The Marianne Hickman Show.